The 1987 overall state champion Nettleton Lady Raiders. What a night that was in the history of Nettleton High School. Back then, volleyball was not as big statewide as it is now. There were only two classifications. There was 3A and 4A. Nettleton was a much smaller school back then. We were playing in the 3A division, even though we were a AA school. In volleyball, we were playing in the 3A division. Jonesboro was, as it is now, a much larger school than Nettleton, and they were playing in the 4A division. They had an excellent team. We won the 3A state championship. I mean, what a phenomenal team we had.
The group that we put together, they worked well, they didn't fight, they didn't fuss, which is usually what causes problems with girls' teams. Not this bunch. They had one thing in mind and they went after it.
That team in particular was an amazing team because we brought so many different local schools together to combine a team. If you remember, of course, we had Amy from Piggott come in. I was from West Side, and of course, JoBeth being from Nettleton already. So we'd been playing JO ball together for several years, since the 9th grade. So it was just a great fit. We were all already good friends, so it just made a lot of sense.
And Amy Binkley was such a good friend from years of playing club. Same with Andy. Andy and I were on the first ever JO volleyball team way back in 1985. So we had a friendship history before she transferred here. So I was so glad she got to come and ended up having a good career, finishing her high school career as a Nettleton Raider. But they were good players. Andy was an outside hitter. Bank was an outside hitter. Great defensive players. Just solid kids, solid athletes. Good to play with.
Of course, JoBeth was the main setter and she was the best there was. Hands down, the best ever. And so she particularly was, for the most part, the setter. And goodness, we had Dana that was an amazing hitter, and we had lots of other people. Michelle Hollis was great at times, and we all had our specialty. And Amy Binkley, of course, was a knockout when it came to the front row. So we all kind of had to play our part, and we all did good on whether we were on the front row or the back row, playing defense or offense.
Michelle Hollis was another setter who got some playing time, and then Angela Utenage, I remember her a lot. She was a sophomore, I think, when I was a senior, and so she was just a gritty, good, got the job done, listened to Coach Cooper, did what she was asked, good competitor.
We just had a phenomenal team, not just seniors, but we had some great teammates under us as well.
Micah Kaiser, Sherry Barber, Stacy Walker, and Crystal Mode were the ones that probably got the most playing time, and Sherry and Micah were middles. Micah was so strong and could just hit the back wall if she wanted to, but when she made good contact, she was solid. She was hard to block. Sherry was a good blocker, tall, one of the tallest ones on the team, I think. Dana Coggin, I think she was probably an outside hitter as well.
We had such a phenomenal team. There was not a single player on our team that wasn't amazing, that would step up and take up the place of one of us. So it was just the most special team ever. Gina's pretty much let us do our thing, and it was more of a team thing for us. It really wasn't that she was overpowering. She just kind of let us do our thing, and that, I think, was overall a blessing.
I just put the chess pieces in place. They did the work.
Because we'd all had so much playing experience when we all came together here at Nettleton, Coach Cooper was kind of just keeping us herded up and making sure we started in the lineup correctly, and touched a few balls in practice, but she didn't have to overly coach or overly spend a lot of time developing us by my senior year, just because it all kind of paid off, and it really did. It all just kind of clicked into place our senior year.
We just needed a little guidance, and she allowed us to do that, and it made for a great team.
And she could have micromanaged, and there was a lot of talent. And as a coach, I can tell you sometimes really good teams are more stressful as a coach than maybe the weaker teams that aren't supposed to perform, because everyone expects you to do well. So if you don't, what's going on? Why aren't you getting the most out of these girls? And I think that's a testament to her and us as players, is we all really truly wanted to have the common goal of we wanted to win state our senior year. It had never been done at Nettleton, and we wanted to be the first.
Nettleton versus Jonesboro, crosstown showdown for the overall state title at the Convocation Center. It did not get any bigger than that.
At the time, Arkansas Activity Association played off what they called overall.
There were, if I recall, probably at least 10,000 people in that convocation center, a fairly new convocation center. And I have to say that unless you've ever played in front of that many people, it was exhilarating as a senior in high school. And I thought it was just amazing that that many people turned out to support us.
We originally were supposed to play in Little Rock or Conway or Hot Springs maybe, and Kathy Tadlock was convinced, and I'm sure the Nettleton side and the Jonesboro side, that it would be more beneficial to the sport, the schools, the players, even the AAA, if they would leave it here for the crowd. And it turned out in hindsight to be a really good call. I mean, it was so much fun. And one of those nights, it's never been repeated.
It was an overwhelming feeling, first of all, being seniors, knowing that this was it. I mean, this was the very last game for us.
We got to play in the Convocation Center that first year in Play Day. And I remember being overwhelmed then that it was so big and it was air conditioned. I mean, most people back then didn't have air conditioning, and we thought we were rock stars then. And then for it to be the pivotal moment in your career, your memories, and it's on the big stage, all the people coming in. I mean, it was all the hype. It was surreal. It was surreal. It's never been repeated. And even in my volleyball career, playing in college and that was one of the highlights of my volleyball career.
The game started, and it was a great volleyball match. Nettleton was awesome. Jonesboro was no slouch. They had Christy Dobson, who had signed to play volleyball for the SEC's University of Tennessee. Great volleyball player. They had Kim Sims, who also had signed to play college volleyball. They had a great team. They had the legendary coach Phil Parker, who was their coach, probably the greatest volleyball coach in the history of the state of Arkansas. I mean, Jonesboro had a phenomenal team, and they were a school that was twice as big as us, but our girls were not afraid. They went out there, and under the leadership of Coach Cooper, and with phenomenal athletes that we had on the team, we won that match 3-0. Volleyball was quite a bit different back then. You didn't have rally scoring. You played to 15. But we won all 3 games, and the Nettleton fans erupted whenever that final point landed for Nettleton. We were the overall state champs. We had beaten the crosstown rivals, the Jonesboro Lady Hurricane. Life was awesome for us Nettleton Raiders. Raider pride was truly justified on that night, thanks to those wonderful ladies on the 1987 Nettleton Lady Raider volleyball team.